3.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charmaine Fairweather. With me this evening to present on the 8 laws of health are Anne-Marie Brown, Pure Air. Renee Walters is avoidably absent, so Brother Linford McIntyre will present on sunlight. Beverly Danielle will present on rest. Letitia Chambers is also unavoidably absent, so we'll have Linford McIntyre presenting on proper diet and the use of water. Sorry, Renee Walters is absent. As such, we have Beverly presenting on her, Daniel presenting in her position. We also have Dahalia Sinclair Brown, who will present Trust in Divine Power, while yours truly will be presenting abstemiousness and exercise. We are the victorious 8. I will now turn over to Anne-Marie, who will begin the presentation on Pure Air.
Pure air. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from violation of the laws of health. Remember, guys, disease never comes without a cause. Pure air is most essential to sustain life. Air is the free blessing of heaven. How awesome is that? Calculated to electrify the whole system. Air must be in constant circulation to be kept pure. Remember now, those who do not open the home to pure air are sometimes irritable, sluggish, if all the windows are closed in their homes. Sometimes we're afraid to open our windows because we're afraid of, maybe thieves or bugs or whatever. Open them up. Nothing will happen to you. All right. This may result in chronic sinus conditions or respiratory issues, lack of good sleep, other illnesses, or difficulty staying alert. At night, crack open the windows at least 1 inch so fresh air comes in. Now we're going to talk a little bit about some ailments caused by lack of air, fresh air. The stomach, liver, lungs, and brain are suffering from wants of deep, full inspiration of air, which would electrify the blood and impact it to a bright and lively color, and which alone can keep it pure and give tone and vigor to every part of the living machinery. Natural cleansers recommended for good health. These are vinegar, essential oils. For optimum air quality, it's found in the mountainside. How awesome is that? At the seaside, early morning. Oh my God, just picture that. Recommendations: shower and wash your clothes often to remove fine air particles. Exercise outdoors away from your home with plant sources are air fresheners, plug-ins, scented candles, cleaning chemicals. And that is my take. We now turn over to sunlight.
Good evening, everyone. Sunlight. One of the reasons why God gave sunlight is so that we can see a way. So too Jesus Christ, the Son of Righteousness, lightens up the way for us to walk in Revelation 21:23, and it says, and the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it. For the glory of God did light it up, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Sunlight is vitamin D, which is considered a hormone. Vitamin D is an ultraviolet B, UVB, sun exposure from which you can derive most of the vitamin D3. It is recommended, however, that persons get vitamin D directly from the sunlight, meaning you go out to the sun between the hours of 10 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Some benefits of vitamin D in the body. It stimulates biological and circadian rhythm, insulin secretion, reset biological and circadian rhythm, immune builder, anti-cancer, antibacterial agents, muscle mass and strength, bone strength, calcium absorption. Some diseases caused by vitamin D deficiency: Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, autism, epilepsy, and some cancers. Persons at risk of vitamin C deficiency are the elderly, young children, the chronologically ill, the malnutritioned, the obese, persons of dark skin, persons using certain types of dilation, steroids, persons with liver and kidney failure. Some dietary source of vitamin D, which we not recommend, would be salmon, mackerel, sardines, cereals, egg yolk. And some supplements of vitamin D, the natural supplements vitamin D, and exposure to sunlight. Correct dress for outdoor in the sunlight. Breathable fabrics, example, cotton, wool, silk, linen, bamboo. Long clothing to ensure arms and legs are not exposed but covered. Cover the head with a hat. Do not use umbrellas. This is the end of Rennie Walter's presentation. Thank you.
Abstemiousness. Abstemiousness involving indulging only very moderately in something. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. 1 Corinthians 9, verse 25. Abstemiousness results most naturally from addiction in one form or another, which may affect an individual's health. True temperance teaches us to dispense entirely with everything hurtful and use judiciously that which is healthful. In order to preserve health, temperance in all things is necessary. Temperance in labor, temperance in eating, and temperance in drinking. Temperance, food, appetite. It is possible to eat immoderately even with wholesome food. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. To everyone who is tempted to indulge appetite, I would say, yield not to temptation, lest we make mistakes in the treatment of our bodies, which, before God, we are under obligation to keep in the most healthy condition possible. The Review and Herald, February 10, 1910. The appetite should be in subjection to the moral and intellectual powers. The body should be a servant to the mind and not the mind to the body. Temperance exercise. Jogging can cause an enlarged heart, but walking is the best exercise for the diseased. Temperance work. It is an easy matter to lose health, but it is difficult to regain health. We cannot afford to dwarf or cripple a simple function of the mind and the body by overwork or abuse of any part of the living machinery. And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is awareness of the flesh. Ecclesiastes 12, verse 12.
Rest, the fourth law of health. Let's observe why Jesus said to his disciples in Mark 6:31, "Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while." For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure, so much as to eat. Also in Matthew 6:45, in the hour of his agony in Gethsemane, he told his disciples to sleep and take their rest. Now, in both words, Jesus was teaching the importance of physical rest for the body, both by day and by night. Inspired writings informs that it is crucial for us to go to bed before 10 p.m. For it is between the hours of 9:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. the body is renewed. Healing takes place and the immune system is strengthened. We are told in Proverbs 26:2 that the curse causeless shall not come, meaning disease never comes without a cause. Some make themselves sick by overwork. For these, rest, freedom from care, and a spare diet are essential to restoration of health. To those that are brain weary and nervous because of conditional labor and close refinement, a visit to the country where they can live a simple, carefree life, coming in close contact with the things of nature will help greatly. Jesus said in Matthew 11:20, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." This teaches us that spiritual rest must come first in order for us to rest within mind and body. So here are some helpful tips for a good night rest. Sleep in dark, well-ventilated room. Have no distraction from devices. Let the last thing on your mind be the word of God. And 4, chamomile tea, among other remedies, can also aid in sleep. May God bless you all, and to God be the glory. Amen.
Exercise. You know exercise is good for you, but do you know exercise improves your life? Everyone benefits from exercise regardless of age, gender, or physical ability, including persons with disabilities. Exercise is characterized as planned, structured, and repetitive, and is carried out for the purpose of improving or maintaining physical fitness or health. Exercise is a subset of physical activity. All exercise is considered physical activity, but not all physical activity is considered exercise. Physical activity is defined as any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that results in energy expenditure. Types of physical activity include light activity, moderate activity, so a level that will cause light sweating, and vigorous activity, a level that is sufficiently intense to cause sweating, and our heavy breathing. Type of exercises includes like walking, running, swimming, and riding. The most effective type of exercise is walking. In this exercise, all the organs of the body are brought into use. We are encouraged to exercise regularly. 1 hour daily walking is recommended. Benefits of exercise. Exercise reduces the following: the risk of cardiac disease, death from cardiovascular disease, hypertension, stroke, inflammation, and developing diabetes. Protection against cancer, strengthens bones and muscles, boosts energy, promotes better sleep, improves mood, reduces anxiety and depression, improves cognitive function, increases circulation. Important recommendation for exercise. Morning exercise is more effective. Walking is recommended for 7 days per week. Walking first thing in the morning would burn mainly fat. Some safe exercise practices include wear appropriate footwear, clothing, and supervision, ensure there's adequate space to exercise, ensure there's sufficient ventilation, and this includes exercising preferably in open air. Always warm up. It takes 15 minutes for the coronary arteries to dilate. And finally, always cool down. This prevents most exercise hypotension and venous pooling.
Proper diet. A healthy, balanced diet is one that contains all the necessary nutrients, such as protein, fat, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals in the correct proportions in order to meet the requirements of the body. The diagram, that is the index diagram, shows the benefits of healthy eating. And if you look there, you will see that you are likely to live longer, you are likely to lower your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and so on. Can we have the screen moving, please? Thank you. It will keep the skin, the teeth, and the eyes healthy. It will support, muscles and all of that. And it will help us in terms of various other things of the body. Components of a balanced diet. We are moving too fast. Components of a balanced diet, carbs, then carbohydrates is broken down into glucose. Glucose is the main source of energy, comprising of sugar, which we get from fruits, vegetables, desserts, and sodas. Starch, which we get from bread, cereal, and pasta, and fibers, which we obtain from fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains. Deficiency can lead to constipation, low blood sugar, weakened immune system, mental fatigue. Moving right along. Protein. And protein is found in all bodily cells and tissues. It is needed for growth, repair, and bodily maintenance. Protein is essential from diet and non-essential. We have two sources from which we can obtain protein. We have from the animal source, which is meat, eggs, dairy, and from the plant source, which is the better source, we get it from nuts, seeds, and grains. Deficiency can cause weak muscle tones, growth deficiencies, thin and prickly hair and nails, poor wound healing, hormone imbalances. Fats, dairy fats and oil. Yes. And fats is essential for energy and cell support, as well as protecting internal organs and allowing the absorption of some nutrients. There are 4 types, which include the saturated, the polyunsaturated, the monosaturated, and the trans fat. Saturated and trans fat, quote unquote, are bad fats found in junk foods, and these we should remove from our diet. Polyunsaturated and monosaturated are quote unquote good fats, which are found in nuts, olive oil, avocados, etc., and we should eat more of these. Deficiency of fat may cause mental disorder and skin disease. Guidelines for maintaining a healthy diet. Eat a variety of vegetables, essential, especially dark green, red, and orange vegetables. 3 or more servings we should have on a daily basis. Eat a variety of fruits, 2 or more servings per day. Limit or eliminate animal proteins in the diet, as high meat diets are linked to adverse conditions such as increased cholesterol and sodium levels, which could potentially lead to coronary artery disease, cancer, and disorders of the liver. Eat whole grain, high fiber bread and cereals. We should have up to 3 to 6 servings a day. Reduce or eliminate refined or processed carbohydrates, Most of the grains in your diet should be whole grains. Remove dairy as they contribute to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease. Studies have also linked dairy to the increased risk of breast, ovarian, and prostate cancers. Restrict or eliminate processed food that contains refined white flour, solid fats, or trans fat, added sugar, or are high in sodium. Okay. Restrict or eliminate sodas and other sugars added drinks. They are high in calories and contains few or no nutrients at all. Remove alcoholic beverages, and as overconsumption may impair one's thinking and long-term abuse may lead to liver disease. The food you eat can be the safest and most powerful form of medicine, or it could be the slowest form of poison. And that is coming from Anne Wigmore. Thank you so much. The use of water and the human body. Water is one of the most valuable helpers you may have in the daily task of keeping yourself in health or in recovering health when it is lost. And that is from the 8 Laws of Healthful Living by Vance Farrell. The body is made up of approximately 70% water. We tend to lose water throughout the day from activities of daily living such as breathing, sweating, talking, urinating, etc. And therefore we must ensure that we replenish our stores daily to prevent dehydration and other adverse effects. The importance of water. Water is important to regulate our body temperature, to flush body waste, including the removal of poisonous impurities, to help maintain blood pressure, to form saliva and mucus, to maintain the health and integrity of every cell in the body, and it also aids in digestion. Moving along. And this chart shows you what the importance of water, as you would see there, moisture and so on. Recommended dietary fluid intake. It is recommended that we need at least 8 glasses of water per day, which should come from pure drinking water and food that we eat, such as fruits and vegetables. Moving along. Add or squeeze a slice of lemon or lime or some strawberries or mint leaf to plain water to add variety. Caffeinated beverages such as coffee, tea, soda should be avoided as they have a high diuretic effect on the body and will cause you to lose too much water. Drinking water first thing in the morning helps with the lymphatic drainage and removal of toxins from the body. Drink water frequently throughout the day and do not wait until you get the urge to drink, as thirst is a sign that you are already dehydrated. Moving right along. You are adequately hydrated when your urine is pale yellow. Drink room temperature or warm water to boost metabolism, aid digestion, and relieve thirst more effectively than cold water. Drink water before meals, and you should have water at least half an hour before you eat or at least 1 hour after you would have eaten. Moving right along.
Divine power. What is divine power? According to Google Bible Dictionary, divine power is a spiritual force that enables the recipient to do or to be what he or she cannot do. Can you move the slide, please? Can you move the slide, please?
Okay.
In our training as medical missionaries, we are being taught to pray and also trust in the Lord for healing to be done to our patient after giving physical help. And this is where divine power comes in for the Lord's will to be done. For example, in the book Medical Missionary by Ellen G. White, under the section, The Holy Spirit Renew the Body, we are told sin brings physical disease and weakness. Christ has made it possible for us to free ourselves from this curse. The Lord promised by the medium of truth to renovate the soul. The Holy Spirit will make all who are willing to be educated, able to communicate the truth with power. It will renew every organ of the body, that God's servant may work acceptably and successfully. Vitality increase under the influence of the action of the Holy Spirit. Let us then, by this power, lift ourselves into a higher, holier atmosphere, that we may do well our appointed work. And this is taken from the Review and Herald, January 14, 1902. And I leave this with you. In King James Version of the Bible, Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6, and it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Thank you for listening, and have a good night, everyone.
We're at the end of our presentation. I would like to apologize for 3 persons, and they are Renee Walters. She had an emergency this morning, so she wasn't able to present. And Letitia Chambers, she is having internet issues since last night, so she's unable to present. And I would like to commend our new addition to our group. We actually had 2 persons joining today. The most recent is Donette Scarlett. She was added this afternoon, as such she wasn't able to present. Beverly Daniel was also, well, Brother Linford McIntyre also was added to the group this morning. He came on board and did exceptionally well, good teamwork. And Beverly Daniel as well was added to the group over the weekend. So a lot of work was put in. So I just want to apologize for these persons who were unavoidably absent today.
Thank you so much. That was indeed a good presentation. But before I give my comment, I should be seeing hands of your fellow students ready to give comments about the presentation. And just remember the points that we had outlined before the presentation. Go ahead, Rachel.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, I would say that the presentation was really good, being the first one to see from my fellow students. And I just had a question. Is it that the whole thing takes 15 minutes, like from the first person to the last person, or each person takes 15 minutes?
No, the entire thing. Sister,
wow.
Do you have the time? You will notice that when we're doing the presentation, Sister Cleo will post the times when you start and when you finish, so we know whether you are within the group time. She'll post it shortly. Let me see.
That's very, very, very excellent. If everything has to be done within 15 minutes, that is really good. I remember when they were being presented to us, each topic was just taking over an hour. And,
Yes, but
and
as we're
so
trying to
I
teach you,
really
as we're trying to
say
teach
that
you,
they have done very well.
yes, and as I'm saying, as we're trying to teach you, when you go to some churches, they'll give you 5 minutes to do an entire disease.
Oh my
Cause
goodness, that's
thank
too
you. We have to
small.
learn how to do it, yes. All right, thank you so much. Any
Okay,
other
we would
comments?
learn.
Come students, you're all going to be marked, you know. Remember, we have the different areas. So we talk about timing. We have to mark them according to the key that was given. Go ahead, Sister Perry.
Yes, this presentation was excellent because it's the first one
Yeah,
and they didn't get enough time to present it.
to get together, to get them think together. And they
Yes.
did so well. Very good.
And I don't see my name as yet and any group.
All right, Sister Perry. We should turn it up with that. Brother Lambert.
Yes, I think it was a very good presentation. I see someone make mention in the chat that if they had mentioned sardine in the diet, that should not have been. But my view is that you give it very balanced. The Lord says, I set before you life and death, but choose life. So they would have given you or presented both animal and plants, but they advise you to go the plant route. And I think that was very good. It's always good to give both sides of the story or both sides of the issue, but then make your recommendation. And I saw where they did that. So I believe that it was very good. I'm not saying that probably a little more research could not have been done, but when you're considering the time factor, I would give them a straight A.
Okay, thank you. And if you have your questions, you can ask them at this time as well. Sister Carrie-Ann, your time.
Well done for your first presentation. I learned, I thought I was actually listening to the officials. I thought though the gentleman before would have highlighted it. I am not sure if being medical missionaries, if we while speaking about the diet or I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself, where she mentioned about the sardine and etc. If we ought to refer flesh to individuals, and he however said that she gave the option, but I'm not sure if it should be excluded generally when we are going this route as medical missionaries. And she also mentioned vinegar. I am not certain what was the purpose of the vinegar, or should
It was for
we
cleaning.
Sorry?
It was for cleaning.
Okay, cleaning. All right, so that's a question though, if we should recommend or suggest like sardines, etc.
Okay,
But
team
good
members
presentation, trust me, yeah. Sorry?
No, I was telling the team members that they can respond.
Okay.
Okay, as Brother Lambert indicated earlier, that you have to have a balance. I think the sardine was mentioned under the topic sunlight. Remember, there are persons where you encourage persons to go out and get the sunlight. However, this is an option you have as a source. So even though you include that, you recommend the sunlight, the direct sunlight. So you have to have a balance to say, okay, you have animal-based, you have plant-based. We are recommending plant-based, but just in case, because there are some persons, remember, it would take a while for them to be transformed. It doesn't happen overnight. So you include those, however, you recommend the best source.
All right. Brother Lambert, you had another comment? Go ahead.
May I?
Go ahead.
Yes, also, remember that in some parts of the world, you don't see sunlight for some time. So a person who live in the way up in the north, where in the winter you don't see sunlight, what would you do? So we always have to have an alternative where what is recommended, what is appropriate might not be available, might not be possible.
Okay, thank you so much for that one. Sister Sonia and last.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I was not going to say anything, but it's a good presentation. And also to what my brother just said, I live up north. I live where you have bad winter, and I don't eat sardines. I don't eat any fish. I don't eat nothing but a face and a mother and a liver. So it's not everybody up north that do, eat animal food. So that's my take on that.
Thank you so much. Okay, my comment. Sorry, I was talking with my mic mute again. All right, sorry about that. All right, so I was saying, for the first category, I would give them 4. They mentioned the group name and the name of the group members. The PowerPoint was colorful and it was coordinated in my estimation, so I would give them 4. For the content, maybe I would give them 1. It was visually okay, but I wouldn't say it was visually engaging. For most part, it was factual. The first part, there were claims made that did not have the source, but as the PowerPoints, the presentation continued, the sources were mentioned. It was a bit interactive. Anne-Marie was trying to keep it alive. Yes, it was okay. And you could see the personal touch to the presentation as well. So I would give them 5 for that part. They exceeded the time, right? And I would give them 3 for there. I know they exceeded and they should actually get 2, but I'm being lenient because they're the first presentation and they did awesome. So I'm going to give them a 3. And they'll get full marks for the last section. I thought they were very cohesive and the apologies were done. The group flowed. I think they overall answered the questions fairly well. So in all, they would get 10, 15, 16, 17 marks out of 20 marks, right? That's my take. I don't know if Dr. Lam may have a different grade, but that would be my take. So this is how we are going to be marking. And we can probably, I'm going to give them 18 because the first time and they did so very well. And, I really, really love how they did the presentations and how they demonstrated it. Yes,
Hey,
Sister
girl.
Sonia?
Hey, how are you?
Okay, so she's not talking to us. Right. So that is what I would, that's how I would mark you. And that's how the other presenters will mark you, but you did exceptionally well. Victorious 8, consider yourself the victor. Thank you so much. So without
Thanks to you.
Dr. Lamlu, do you have a comment for our students?
All right, guys. So I really want to thank you for the presentation. I do like the end of it where the leader was able to make her apologies and the commendation for our group member. That's good. That's a good part of leadership to do that. At the beginning, the first person who is starting, always remember you're doing doing the presentation. Remember the 8 laws of health must be highlighted. All right. Now, somebody is saying that, remember, we are racing against time. The time will not change. When you go to a church and they give you that small time, they are watching you and they are timing you and they are more anxious for you to come off this day than anything else. So that is the time that you are going to work with, right? So you have to always bear that in mind and don't expect to get anything else from it. Something I want you guys to concentrate on, and this is going for the other group. As I said, I'm very lenient with first group. Very, very lenient. I actually don't, hardly anything that you will do that I'll mark you down for. I can only instruct in righteousness, all right? I want you, though, to be engaging. The information that you give is information that you can get anywhere. A person can read about water online. They can find out about sunlight. All of this they can do. So the information itself is not so much the critical part. The part that I want you to concentrate on is the action plan. The action is very important. What do I mean by that? I mean, you're saying, you tell about the water. So I know, yeah, water is good and all of that. But that's not, if you don't do water properly, it's of no use to you. It's not good for you anymore. All right. So you're going to give them an action plan about water. I'm not saying water specifically, I'm just picking on one. You give them, what do you do? Ensure that you drink at least 8 glasses of water. Remember, you do not take it with your meal. And someone will say, but I only have 5 minutes. I only have 2 minutes. In that time, water is important for the usage in your joints. It is good to ensure that your brain runs well, to keep it properly, the blood going smoothly through the veins and all of that. And you put it, but so for it to be beneficial to you, ensure that you drink at least 8 glasses of water. How do you drink this water? Do not take your water when you eat. And you can, within 2-3 minutes, you have given them an entire sermon. You understand? But always remember, call people to action. That's what you are. You're a medical missionary. And as a medical missionary, you're going to want persons to change. You're going to want persons to do something that will help them. Remember, what we are doing is healing. So while a person can hear all the information about sunlight, that's all good and well. But how do you know, use the sunlight so that healing can take place? Next time when they said, I remember that I went to this church and this person talked about sunlight, that I'm to do this. I did this, and guess what? This is the result. So when you do your presentation, call people to action. Don't concentrate so much on the amount of information you're giving them, because the information will never end. So that's why a person said, but the time is too short. Why is it short? Because we are trying to give as much information as possible. But that's not your idea. What you're doing is give them, because inside of your mind, even now, when you hear of something, the first thing that comes into your mind, how will it benefit me? How? So you're going to call person to action because you're going to let them know how it benefits them. In a minute, you tell them how it benefits them, and then you call them to action. All right, so you leave them with something to do. Is it making sense? Are we getting the understanding of what I'm saying?
Yes, Doc, loud and clear.
Yes,
Yes, Doc, loud and
much.
All right. So I want you guys to concentrate, and you can, even when you're calling to action, you might bring in an experience. There are some of you are here, and since you start learning, they said, do you know that I used to say eat and drink at the same time, but after learning medical missionary training, the danger of that, I stop it, and guess what? My stomach stopped hurting. That's a testimony in 1 second, in 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds. You understand? Or you can say, I know of someone who was really sick unto death, and the doctors could not help. The person was taught to go into the sunlight. She started taking the sunlight between. Look how you bring in the laws of health without even talking about it. The person was told to get 1 hour sunlight and to get the sun at its best. The person went between 12 and 1 o'clock. And guess what? Within very short time, the person was healed from the condition that was causing her not to walk. Done. Less than 30 seconds. All right. So I want us to remember that part. Call to action. Keep that in your presentation. Call to action, because as medical missionary, this is what you're going to do. It is a work. All right. So try not to crowd your presentation with a lot of information that everybody can get. But the question that they're going to ask you, what is in it for me? And what is in it for me is how it can heal me. All right. And how will I get this healing? You tell them how to do it. All right. So that is it. I like the cohesiveness of the group. Remind me of the group's name, please.
The Victorious 8.
Victorious 8.
Victorious 8. I like it. I hope you guys will be keeping it and will be doing something, for yourself in that group. All right. I like it. And I like the cohesiveness that has been shown. And another thing that you do, make sure, because you're the first group, I guess that's why it came out. The nervousness could be heard, and the little glitches in there. So while you guys can get away with that, the others, you don't have that luxury. All right. The thing that you want to do, let it come alive. Let it come alive. Let the world know that it's not something that you were just asked to do. This is something that you are living. I have heard medical missionary in training, when they start even doing like the food, they say, listen, I have learned that I can eat this, and I combine this, I put a little this, and it was absolutely great. And in you just saying that, you have called a person to action, right? You know what I'm saying? Because the whole idea, you must make people sit on them seat and want what you have. Okay? So overall, job well done. You did very well. And apart from those things that I'm now mentioning, I like the cohesiveness. That especially, I've seen that teamwork had taken place and the information was given. Your graphics were good, right? They were good. They show what it is that you're talking about. The information that is given, don't do so much of a lengthy discussion, but just get into the action plan, and you can cover your thing in the required time. So God bless you, and job well done. All right.
Thank you. Going forward, we will be improving. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, well, you have 2 more presentations.
Yes,